Teddy Atlas, the outspoken ESPN commentator and obviously the former trainer of Mike Tyson, Shannon Briggs, Michael Moorer, Alexander Povetkin, and many others, has come out in an interview and said that he believes that Deontay Wilder will defeat Bermane Stiverne in a couple of rounds and it will just be a blowout. Interesting coming from Atlas. Now, like everybody, Teddy Atlas has got his fair share of predictions wrong. No question about that. But Teddy Atlas is obviously a very experienced trainer. He's been around the boxing game for a very long time. And he obviously has a certain amount of knowledge and a certain amount of inside knowledge. He's trained some of the hardest punching heavyweights in the history of the sport. So it's not, really logical to dismiss everything Teddy Atlas says offhand. It is worth listening to the guy and hearing his opinion. And he thinks that Wilder is simply going to walk through Stiverne. It's pretty much 50-50 in terms of the public split from what I've seen. Half of the public think it's going to be Wilder, half of the public think it's going to be Stiverne. Very interesting fight. And I like it this way. I like the fact that the public are split the way that they are. It makes the fight more intriguing. It makes the fight more exciting. It means that whoever wins, there's going to be a hell of a lot of people who got their prediction wrong. Right? Because it's not 99% of people picking Wilder or 99% of people picking Stiverne. It's literally 50-50. So whichever way it goes, it's going to result in a lot of people having egg on their face, having to eat crow feet, And it's understandable that it's 50-50 to me because both guys are largely untested and unproven. Stiverne is a bit more tested than Wilder is. But nonetheless, other than Chris Arreola, who was never an amazing heavyweight himself, he doesn't have anyone significant on his resume. He struggled with Ray Austin. So it is what it is. Interestingly, I've seen the first episode of, what's it called? The Showtime. What do they call it now? I can't remember what they call it. The Showtime program where they go behind the scenes and go into the gyms of both fighters and what have you. You know what I'm talking about. But I watched the first episode on Showtime. It's on YouTube. And one of the sparring partners that Wilder has got in his gym is a guy called Demetrius King. And this must be deliberate because Demetrius King, for those of you who don't know, is the guy who gave Bermane Stiverne his one and only loss. He stopped Bermane Stiverne in, was it 3 or 4 rounds? Stiverne didn't go down in that fight. He was stopped on his feet. He believes it was a premature stoppage. And, I tend to agree with that. But nonetheless, he did get hit a lot in that fight. He was definitely under pressure and a little bit buzzed by Demetrius King. So what should we read into the fact that Wilder has brought Demetrius King into his camp? I mean, it could just be a coincidence, obviously. But I tend to believe it's not. I wonder if Wilder is hoping to get any tips from Demetrius King or whether it's a psychological ploy. So they want to make Stiverne see that they've got this Demetrius King character in the Wilder camp and maybe hope to get under Stiverne's skin or unnerve him in some way. I don't know. I just can't help thinking that this is not a coincidence, that they've brought this guy in deliberately because, I mean, he obviously as well is a similar size to Stiverne. He's very heavily set, powerfully built, rugged guy. So obviously there is definitely mileage in terms of bringing Demetrius King into the camp, just in terms of the size of him and the dimensions of him. It's very similar to Stiverne. But there are loads of other guys out there like Demetrius King. I mean, Demetrius King is durable, but he's not that durable. He has been taken out early before. Shannon Briggs took Demetrius King out in 1 or 2 rounds several years ago. So he's not that durable. There are other guys out there more durable than Demetrius King who have the same type of physique, the same type of dimensions as Bermane Stiverne. So, I don't know. Drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about this whole situation. Let me know what you feel about Teddy Atlas's comments and how you think the fight's going to go. Are you really 50-50 about it? Are you not sure like me, or are you feeling strongly about it one way or the other? And like I say, there seems to be very few people who are like me. Because me, I'm not sure which way the fight's going to go because I haven't seen enough of both fighters. I haven't seen enough of them in certain situations. Stiverne's never been in there with a guy as tall as Wilder, who moves as well as he does. He's been in with tall guys, but tall, slow guys. And he struggled with Ray Austin. He's been in with tall guys in the amateurs, yes. But in the amateurs, Stiverne was at least 10, 15 pounds lighter than he is now. Now, I saw an interview on Bayloric TV where Ingram Jones was talking to Stiverne's trainer, and they said that they got Stiverne down to 230 prior to the, before the Areola rematch, but that when he was down at 230, he felt weak, so they brought him back up to 240. Well, that's neither here nor there, to be honest with you. I mean, the fact is, he's too slow at 240. He's got very slow feet at 240. So if you take him down to 230 and he's weak, fair enough, bring him back up. But you've still got a slow 240 pounder. When he was an amateur, he was down at 230 or maybe a bit less, and he wasn't weak. So he's allowed himself to stay at 240, 250 for so long that when he tries to come back down now, it drains him and he can't do it. That's why really boxing, the best boxers stay in shape. They don't allow themselves to balloon up in weight and then bring themselves down in weight and get weakened. They don't allow themselves to do that. They keep their weight down all the time so that when it comes time to fight, there is no issue with being weakened by losing loads of weight. There's none of that. So whatever the case may be, at 240, Bermane Stiverne has got slow feet. That's it. And that's a concern. That's something where you have to say, okay, how's he going to cut off the ring against Wilder with those slow feet? So that's a question right there. And he struggled against Ray Austin, who's much slower than Wilder. No question about it. And they don't hit like nowhere near as hard as Wilder. But at the same time, you got Wilder, who seems a bit ungainly, seems a bit uncoordinated at times. His punches can be a bit sloppy at times when he's really letting his hands go. There's questions about Wilder's chin because he got dropped in one of his earlier fights, and he also got stopped in the amateurs. So there's a lot of questions on both sides for both of these fighters. That's why, to me, it's like, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of them to really make my mind up. But there seems to be not that many people like me. Most people seem to be coming down very heavily on one side or the other. Most people are saying it's either definitely Wilder or it's definitely Stiverne. So that makes it an interesting matchup. Let me know how you feel about this fight, people. This is Hatman, I'm out.